Have you ever wondered what led to the fall of a superpower like the Soviet Union? Let's take a journey back in time. Picture the world stage in the aftermath of the Second World War. The Soviet Union emerged as a global titan, its influence stretching far and wide, its military might unchallenged, and its political ideology of communism presenting a stark contrast to the capitalist West. This ideological divide between the East and the West became the cornerstone of a prolonged period of geopolitical tension known today as the Cold War. But beneath the surface of this superpower, there was more than meets the eye. The Soviet Union, despite being a formidable force on the global stage, was a complex entity grappling with systemic issues. Famine, gulags, and economic struggles were part of its reality. The Soviet Union, despite its might, was not without its internal issues. The first signs of trouble were not in the form of wars, but in the everyday lives of the people. Under the leadership of Leonid Brezhnev, the Soviet Union began to experience economic stagnation. The once vibrant economy was now sluggish, plagued by inefficiencies and corruption. This was not simply a matter of numbers on a balance sheet, but a palpable reality that touched every corner of Soviet life, from the bustling cities to the most remote villages. Yet economic woes were just one part of the picture. The Gulag system, a network of forced labor camps, was a grim testament to the human cost of maintaining the Soviet state. Widespread famine further exacerbated the public discontent, as people struggled to put food on their tables, while the state prioritized military and industrial expansion. By the time the 80s rolled around, the Soviet Union was akin to a pressure cooker, simmering with discontent and ready to explode. The arrival of Mikhail Gorbachev in 1985 signaled a new era, but also the beginning of the end. Gorbachev's policies of glasnost, or openness, and perestroika, or restructuring, intended to stimulate the stagnant Soviet economy and liberalize the society, ironically sped up the demise of the very system they were designed to save. Glasnost lifted the veil of secrecy, allowing the Soviet people to see the deep-rooted corruption and inefficiencies plaguing their society. Perestroika, on the other hand, disrupted the command economy, causing significant economic instability and hardships. The Chernobyl disaster of 1986, a stark manifestation of systemic failures, further eroded public trust. Meanwhile, the protracted Afghan war drained the Soviet Union's resources and morale. Both of these events exposed the fragility and the inherent contradictions of the Soviet regime, deepening the crisis. As the 1980s drew to a close, the once mighty superpower was teetering on the edge. By 1991, the Soviet Union was on the brink, and the coup attempt in August was the final nail in the coffin. The fall of the Soviet Union was a seismic event, felt around the world. In the immediate aftermath, the dissolution triggered a series of economic crises, political upheaval, and the rise of oligarchs. The once mighty superpower saw its economy collapse, with hyperinflation and corruption leading to widespread poverty and inequality. The political landscape was in turmoil, with the newly formed Russian Federation struggling to establish its identity and direction. Meanwhile, the sudden power vacuum led to the emergence of oligarchs, whose wealth and influence continue to shape the country's trajectory. The former satellite states, released from the grip of Moscow, embarked on their own paths, some integrating with the West, others grappling with their newfound independence. This geopolitical shift had profound implications for the West, altering the balance of power and reshaping alliances. The fall of the Soviet Union marked the end of an era, but its echoes can still be heard today. These reverberations continue to influence global politics and economics, underscoring the enduring legacy of this historical watershed.